Right now at noon, the federal government is back open. That's after the U.S. House passed a stopgap funding bill last night, and the president signed it shortly thereafter. The reopening is having real-world impacts on Americans. More services are becoming available again with the return of furloughed federal employees that are set to receive back pay. For people who are on Obamacare, the reopening could mean their health insurance premiums will more than double. The bill does not guarantee an extension of expiring subsidies. Democrats are vowing to keep fighting to lower health care costs, but the House Speaker says he wants reforms first. And those SNAP benefits should soon be available again. But right now, it's still unclear when flight schedules are going to return to normal. I'm Brooks Baptiste.
And I'm Syria Sandlin. Atlanta News First, Niamani Watson has been at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport all morning. And Niamani, you've been talking to travelers about the government reopening.
I have, and even though flight cuts remain in place, travelers I spoke with today say they haven't had any issues so far. They say they're glad things are moving in the right direction and that it's happening before the holidays.
With the government reopened, travelers at Hartsfield-Jackson Airport are more at ease.
I'm glad the airports are moving, back to a normal. I'm glad TSA is being paid finally, and our air traffic controllers.
The Federal Aviation Administration says air traffic control staffing is improving quickly, allowing the agency to freeze flight cuts at 6% instead of increasing it to 10% like it had initially planned to do. Some travelers passing through Atlanta grateful their flights have not been impacted.
And I was wondering that when I came from South Africa, and it hasn't been affected.
Flights have not been canceled or delayed?
No, ma'am. As of right now, no, ma'am. And hopefully not.
Some airlines say operations should return to normal soon. Delta Airlines released a statement on the shutdown ending, saying in part, quote, "We look forward to bringing our operation back to full capacity over the next few days." Southwest Airlines also saying in part, quote, "Once the shutdown ends, we're optimistic the FAA will allow airlines to resume normal operations within a few days."
I'm really happy about that for the people that are traveling for the holidays, At least that takes it off their plate worrying about getting there or getting home, hopefully.
American Airlines also says the last few days of operations have already brought fewer delays and cancellations. American released a statement on the shutdown ending saying in part, quote, "We're ready for business and looking forward to serving customers with a full schedule, especially in advance of the Thanksgiving and year-end holidays." Now, the FAA says it will continue to monitor staffing levels as the government reopens and controllers receive their back pay. Live at Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, I'm Niamani Watson, Atlanta News First.
Niamani, thank you. And be sure to download the free Atlanta News First app by scanning the QR code here on your screen. We're going to continue to follow the federal government's staggered reopening, and we'll be sure to update you as they come into our newsroom.